Hi, this is Rob. I'm going to be showing you how to do the exercises that go along with the video lesson, What Percent Is It? Are you ready? Let's go. For our first percent word problem, we need to figure out which component's missing and circle it in the equation below. So Ellen got 47 questions right on her math test. If the test had a total of 50 questions, what percent did she get right? All right, well, let's see. So we have 47 questions, 50 questions, and what percent did she get right? Well, this one here, it says a total of 50 questions. So that's got to be talking about the total in the equation. And so the 47 questions, Ellen got 47 questions right. So 47 out of 50. So the 47 is the part out of the total. So what percent did she get right? That's what we're trying to figure out. That's the part that's missing. And what percent, clearly that's percent, and that's the only one left over. So we circle percent to show that percent is the component that's missing. For this percent word problem, we need to figure out which component's missing and circle it in the equation below. All right, so our word problem is, if 60% of your class likes to play basketball at recess, and there are 30 students in your class, how many like playing basketball? All right, well, the first bit of information we're given is this 60%. And it has a percentage sign right in it, so that's got to be the percent. And then it says, of your class likes to play basketball at recess. And there's 30 students in your class, so that's the next bit of information here. And the 30 students in your class, that's the total number of students that we're talking about. It's not just the amount of students that like playing basketball or like playing something else. It's the total number of students, so that's got to be the total. And then what we're missing right here, how many like playing basketball? Well, that would be the part of the total. So the part is what's missing, and that's our answer. For this word problem, we need to look at all the information we're given, figure out which component's missing, and circle it in the equation below. All right. At a pizza party, 40% of the pizzas were pepperoni. If there were 6 pepperoni pizzas, how many pizzas were there in all? All right, so the first bit of information we have is this 40%. So it has a percentage sign, which is a good clue that it's going to be the percent component of the equation. All right, so 40% of the pizzas were pepperoni. If there were 6 pepperoni pizzas, how many pizzas were there in all? All right, so the 6 is the next number we have to deal with here. And it's talking about pepperoni pizzas. And we already saw up here that a percentage of the pizzas were pepperoni. So this 6 is talking about a part of the total number of pizzas. All right, so the next thing we have is, how many pizzas were there in all? All right, yeah, that sounds, were there in all, that sounds like it's asking about the total, right? So, and that's the one that's left over. So the part that's missing, the component we're trying to figure out, is the total. So we circle total, and that's our answer. And once again, we need to figure out which component is missing from this word problem and circle it in the equation below. And a word problem is, what percent of Tom's pets are dogs if 3 out of 5 are dogs? All right, well, the first numbers we have is this 3 out of 5. And the 3 out of 5 sounds an awful lot like it's talking about the part out of the total. So part and total are taken up. Those are the numbers that we do know. What we don't know, what we're trying to figure out, is what percent of Tom's pets. And that even uses the word percent, so it's pretty clear that the part that's missing, the part we're trying to figure out, is the percent. For this problem, we have 7 out of 20 is what percent? So 7 out of 20 is a fraction. So we need to convert that fraction, 7 out of 20, or 7 over 20. We need to convert that into a percent. And since 20 can be converted into 100 pretty easily, the way we should convert this is by making an equivalent fraction that has 100 as the bottom number. So to do that, we need to multiply 20 by 5, because 20 times 5 equals 100. And we need to do the exact same thing to the top number. All right, so now we have 7 times 5. equals 35 over 20 times 5 equals 100. So now we have the equivalent fraction, 35 over 100, and a fraction with 100 as the bottom number is a percent, so we can rewrite that as 35%. So 7 out of 20 is 35%. For this problem, we have 9 out of 15 is what percent? So 9 out of 15, 9 is the part, 15 is the total. So let's write that as a fraction, 9 over 15. And now we need to figure out what the percent form of this fraction is. 15 isn't an easy number to convert into 100 to be the bottom number of an equivalent fraction. So instead, I'm going to use a calculator to figure out the decimal form of this fraction and then convert that to a percent. All right, so 9 over 15 is 9 divided by 15. So plug in 9 divided by 15 equals 0.6. All right, so 9 over 15 equals 0.6. And then to convert that into a percent, we move the decimal point 2 spaces over to the right. And so there's not enough digits there, so we need to put in a 0 as a placeholder. And so now we can get rid of that 0 that was there as a placeholder. And so our answer is 60. So let's rewrite that here, 60%. So 9 out of 15 is 60%. And now we have this word problem. Paul asked 200 people what their favorite fruit was. 80 said it was bananas, 95 said it was apples, and the rest said it was some other fruit. What percent likes bananas the best? All right, so we need to figure out what these numbers in the word problem mean and what we're trying to figure out. Luckily, what we're trying to figure out is said clearly in this last sentence here. What percent likes bananas the best? All right, so we need to figure out what numbers in here are the other parts of our equation to find the what percent is it. All right, so Paul asked 200 people what their favorite fruit was. So these 200 people are the total that he's asking. So that's going to be the bottom number of our fraction in the equation. So let's put that in there, 200. And now we have two other numbers here, but we know that the percent is missing. So only one of these numbers are we going to use in our equation. So we have 80 said it was bananas, 95 said it was apples. And our question is asking us what percent likes bananas the best. So 80 is the number we're looking for. 80 is the part of the 200 that we're trying to find. The percent of that is what we're trying to find. So 80 is our top number, 200 is our bottom number, and we need to find what the percent of this fraction is. All right, so 200 can be converted into 100 pretty easily by dividing by 2. So let's do that. Let's divide by 2, and we need to do the exact same thing to the top number of our fraction. So 80 divided by 2 equals 40. 200 divided by 2 equals 100. And a fraction with 100 as the bottom number can be rewritten in its percent form by just writing the top number and the percent sign. So we have, out of the 200 people that Paul asked what their favorite fruit was, 80 said it was bananas. So 40% of the people that Paul asked liked bananas the best. And now we have this word problem. A parking lot that has 520 spaces was filled with 390 cars. What percent of the parking lot was full? So we need to use the information we're given in this word problem to find the percent of the parking lot that was full. And the numbers we have is that the parking lot has 520 spaces. So that's the total number of spaces in the parking lot. So that's going to be the bottom number of our fraction in this equation, was filled with 390 cars. So 390 out of those 520 spaces are full. So 390 is the part of the total. So 390 is the top number of our fraction. And now we need to find the percent form of this, to find the percent of the parking lot that was full. And 520 is not very easy to convert into 100 to use the equivalent fraction method. So instead, we're going to use a calculator and figure out what the decimal value of this fraction is and find the percent form that way. All right, so 390 divided by 520 equals 0.75. All right, so 390 over 520 equals 0.75. All right, and to find the percent form of this, all we have to do is move the decimal point 2 places to the right, which is the same as multiplying it by 100. And so now we have 75 point nothing. So that equals 75, because that 0 was just a placeholder. We don't need that here. And then we put in the percent sign. So the percent of the parking lot that was full is 75%.